sitting here in my, what's now called the great room, kind of cool. My daughter helped me kind of name it the great room, because great things happen here. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing great things here at Central Valley Hypnotherapy and just enjoying ourselves completely. Okay, got me on YouTube. I'm sorry I'm late. And that's Scully, my glass head. I found him at Ross, a little department store out here. Just wanted to real quick, I'm just gonna go through something. I haven't done this in a long time. So let me share my screen and go through this kind of quickly and just share how the subconscious mind works, how it works. That's basically what I'm going to do. So we're going to go backwards because, oh no, we better go the other way. We're going to go backwards, pretending that this circle here is your mind, okay? And as we forward it, down here at the bottom part of our mind, as the P stands for primitive, is amygdala, I believe, in the back of the brain. But this is the part that hosts what we call fight or flight, that danger moment, that part of you that immediately within seconds, when you feel or sense danger, the heart rate goes up, the breathing gets labored, adrenaline, cortisol start hitting the bloodstream. And you get into that state where you're maybe making muscles or tightened muscles. You don't know if you're going to fight or flee. That's just there to protect us. You can't do anything about it. You want it there to protect you, but you don't want to live there, as a lot of people tend to do, because they're just, because of their own traumas. They're afraid to get out of them because they don't know how to live without them. Then there's this over here, two fears that we are born with: loud noises and fear of falling. And all of the fears you have, you learned them. You had to learn how to be afraid of snakes and spiders and water, because as a baby, you weren't afraid of them. You could put yourself in a pool in a pool, or you can't if you're a baby, but a baby can be put into a pool and not afraid of the water, or put into a box of snakes or flower bed of thorny roses, and until they get hurt or find some reason to be afraid of it, or are taught to be afraid. That's what happens. Next, this whole little drawing here. So we're going to pretend this big portion down here, it's our subconscious mind, and it makes up 88% or more of our brain energy power. It's the control center, if you will, in this little part up here. And you engineers and mathematicians, this is not to scale. This is just to give an idea that the subconscious is bigger than the conscious mind. It makes up about 12%. So I'm talking to you in my 12%. In this 12% mind, this is where we decide, reason, analyze. Willpower and logic are used. That willpower is a lot of times just failing. It seems to kick in when we don't need it, right? And we try to make changes. All of this, by the time you're born till the time you're about 8 years old, this filter doesn't exist. It's a non-filter. It's just one great big massive collection of energy and collection of everything you see, feel, hear, touch, taste. All of it just goes into the subconscious mind as what we call message units. In the psychology world, you call them schemas. It's the same thing. Here we have negative things and positive things, and just imagine there's like 100 million times more than this. But the subconscious mind sees them really as just dots, not even positives or negatives. It could care less. The subconscious mind doesn't care if it's fact or fantasy, right, wrong, good for you, bad for you. It doesn't care. Consciously, we care. Consciously, it wants to know what's going on, what's good for us, what's bad for us, so that's why the positives and negatives are there, because that's how we can decide if something's bad or good in our own mind. But in our subconscious mind, it's just what we would call maybe dots, or just, it's nothing. It's objective, completely objective and non-judging. So we're going through the just our life in our first 8 years, just everything goes in as absolute truth. You've heard of people believing in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy. All that to a child is truth, as they are taught. Some are taught that it's not, but on the general scheme of things, even especially in my era, That is the truth to a child. You can teach them anything. That mom's 23 years old every single year, and they believe it. They will believe everything you teach them. You know, by the time the Green Berets were established in the early 1950s, I had always believed, and I was born in the 60s, but as growing up, my grandfather, he always maintained he was part of the Green Berets, you know, and I just believed him. He was my guy. He taught me that. It wasn't until I was in my 20s before I realized, oh, wait a minute, he would have been 42. He never was in the service. How could he have possibly, you know, anyway, started to come out to the reality of, you know, he was just pulling my leg, but grandpas do that. He's my favorite. Anyway, so now a filter is developed after about age 8 or the age of reason. And this filter right here separates that conscious and subconscious mind. And this filter now protects anything going in. So you have this idea, you got an arrow. I just put arrows in. You got an idea, a thought, a change, wanting to get into the subconscious mind. It has to bypass this filter. It can't get through until it associates something with it. So let's take somebody who's all grown up and they're a smoker and they want to quit smoking. So they take that thought, I'm going to quit, and it hits this filter. Oh, shoot, I got to go back. It's the filter. Well, the filter has to associate something that says no smoking, smoke free, something like that. And there's nothing there. So it kicks out the idea. And that's why people who want to quit smoking have a hard time with it, or any kind of tobacco. That struggle, because it's a known to the subconscious mind. And anything here in the subconscious mind that's known brings emotional pleasure to the subconscious mind. And if it brings emotional pleasure, it doesn't want discomfort. So it's going to defend it, even if it's bad for you, because subconscious doesn't care. So as you go through life and you start to make changes and you start to develop other behaviors, maybe you drink too much, maybe you do smoke, maybe you are a neat freak, or maybe you're not, maybe you're a slob, maybe you're an organized slob, maybe you have just a propensity to be afraid of tight spaces, or maybe you have agoraphobia, or you're afraid of needles, or whatever it is. You have abandonment issues. You don't like to be alone. You like to be alone. You're the hermit. I don't know. Whatever the behavior is that you want to change, what do? I take that change. I open up this filter, this critical mind right here. I open it up by relaxing it. And I drop in suggestions down into the subconscious mind, positive suggestions. And those positive suggestions actually take hold as another dot, if you will, and become the new known as the old ones collapse, because now that's more of the exactly what you're desiring. That's the behavior you want to have, the behavior you're looking for. And this all happens in a state of hypnosis. And that's what I do. I relax this part. You are absolutely in control the whole time. It doesn't take you out of control. If you don't like what's going on when you're coming into a session with me or any other hypnotherapist that's qualified, you have absolute control. If I can, I'll leave the door open or whatever. I always make sure my clients are comfortable, and they always know that they're safe. But this is how it works. This is the reason why sometimes it's so difficult to make a change. And when you realize these are just the knowns that the subconscious mind knows, and whenever there's a threat to change them, they defend the threat. No, we're not going to make that change. We're going to stay the way we are because we have comfort zone. This is my baseline. This is my comfort zone. Don't change it. And the second you start to change it, you start to feel that tug of war. Well, let the tug of war happen. It will not struggle for very long if you let it struggle for a minute. Well, when I say a minute, 10, maybe you have to flood yourself and be consciously aware of it for a minute. And then as you're consciously aware of it, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. Even asking your own subconscious mind as you're trying to make a change of a behavior, you're asking that subconscious mind, hey, what do you need? What is it that I need to learn to help make this behavioral change? just ask and wait and let's see what it says. Anyway, this is a very, very, very short episode of Most Things Hypnosis today. I'm actually on my way to the Visalia Sportsmen's Association meeting where I'm going to be doing a little campaigning, and I'm running for the board of directors. So see if I get it, which is next month, but I have to campaign today. So I wrote up my little speech and we'll see what happens. Anyway, I know this was fast. This was all of what, 11 minutes? Wow. Yeah, I'm pretty, I just went through that really fast, didn't I? Well, that's what they teach us to do. Get through, get done, and get on, get going. And this is just to give you a new view. This is my great room. And this is just to show you what, well, that's like my little table that we sit and eat snacks at. Back there in the corner is the bathroom and the kitchen. That's the back door. Of course, my TV, because I like the artwork. Anyway, this is my great room. It's very big, and we're actually going to have Thanksgiving dinner here this year. Be fun, right? Take care, everybody. Till next week. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll be with you next week.